Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to UroNurse. I'm your host, Vic Sinise. Glad to have you on board. Sorry for a little slight delay getting things rolling, but there's always something that happens in the morning. If you're watching us live, great. Glad to have you on board. All these little things here that you see popping up, we're available right now, live. And if you're not getting our newsletter, be sure to go to our website and sign up on MailChimp to get that. And our website is the best place to learn more about the show. Go to uronurse.com to learn everything you need to know about our show. And it's the best place to catch all of our past episodes, 116 of those episodes. Woohoo. Now, some of you like to listen to us in your car. Can't blame you. Long commute, this is the best way to pass time. So go to our UroNurse Plus area and find our audio podcast. It's listed there. Any of your favorite podcasting platforms, you can sign up and subscribe, and you'll get it delivered right to your mailbox, and you'll be able to listen to us in your car. Great way to listen. So this week, we're really happy to have Dr. Michael Cohen joining us, and we're going to be talking about UriCap Female, addressing the limitations of traditional incontinence solutions. So let's go ahead and bring in our experts right now. Experts, welcome to the show. Hi, how's everybody doing? Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm going to just do a quick introduction here. No name tags are showing up because the StreamYard decided to update their software today, and it's not working for me to show them. So I don't know what's going on. But anyway, we'll get that fixed out in this soon. So I am Vic Sinise. I'm the host and producer of the show. Been involved in urology for the past 40 years and bring you UroNurse every week, and glad to do it. Our other expert here is Lori. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lori Atkinson. I'm a certified urology registered nurse. I have been certified I've been a urology nurse since 98. And I currently work for a large urology practice in Geneva and Winfield, Illinois.
All right. And welcome to the show. And our guest speaker for today is Dr. Michael Cohen. And where are you coming from?
I'm born in Sweden, so I'm sitting out in the archipelago out of Stockholm here in the Saturday fall weather in the afternoon now.
Very nice.
Almost missed that extra hour there, so I was lucky I was at the computer.
Why don't you give us a little introduction?
Sure. So I'm an MD here. I'm trained in Stockholm at the Karolinska Institute. Went into business in high tech, took over a family office, made a few exits with that, and invested in some other companies, but also in this company about 10 years ago. And I thought it was a great innovation. We started with like a male incontinence device, and then it developed to a female one. And about 6 years, 2018, I stepped in as the CEO of this company, and we've been developing this product and putting it to market and doing all the regulatory. A very interesting journey, and learned a lot about urology and women's health and what's needed there. So I'm really happy to be able to do that.
Yeah, we're happy to have you on the show today. We've talked about UriCap in the past, but when we were at the SUNA meeting, I was discussing with you some of the things that have changed since and some stories that were interesting about the product. And I said, we got to get you back on. You got to talk more about this product. This very, unusual class of products. Let me tell you, to find a female incontinence external catheter that doesn't require suction, that's a biggie.
Yeah, so. No, it really is very interesting. And it gives new opportunities.
Perfect. Take it away.
Yeah. Okay. Happy to be here again. Well, the background here is that when we started talking about urine collection, we had a male version, and someone said, "Well, we need to do something for women because here there is something lacking here for women, where we only have the traditional catheter, and at that time the diapers." And looking into this subject, it is a lot of cost, a lot of suffering, and new products are really needed here. So I will talk about the limitations of the traditional incontinence solutions, and then see how can UriCap fill in the holes where you can improve this kind of care for incontinence women, and not only incontinence. We'll touch on that. And let me see here. Next one. So the cost of healthcare, and we can see here, is a big problem. We have 21 million suffer from moderate to severe incontinence. So this is a large population. And with incontinence comes the UTI, which is connected. So we think this is very interesting. How can we improve UTI is also another costly aspect of incontinence, of urine incontinence. Increasing health cost, care, and readmission, and so on. And if we look at the age here, we see that we have severe incontinence here. It's a smaller percentage in women. It's post-childbirth. It could be disability. But as we go older and older, and the population goes older and older, today we have more and more severe urinary incontinence. And keeping these patients at home is very important. This is something where this is the most common thing for admission in hospitals or into nursing home is chronic heavy incontinence. And a lot of money. There's a lot of products sold, and we can see here there are billions and billions of dollars, and it's growing every year. But the solutions, the briefs, the diapers, and the indwelling catheters have significant side effects and cost to them. They are not ideal products from all aspects. We have quality and care of life. We have medical side effects, cost in the healthcare institutions with infections, and sustainability issues here. We have it's becoming more and more important with the volumes that are increasing of diapers and briefs for adults, not for babies, but for adults. And I will touch that. Today, the current solutions for women are the pads and the diapers. They're not reimbursed usually. They are the product development. They are more and more comfortable, but being wet in a diaper all night is not very comfortable. It's dignity, quality of life issues, and if you don't buy the most expensive ones and you don't change them often enough, you are wet, and the quality of skin is affected, and you get irritations and often perineal wounds. And of course, the adverse environmental impact, I will touch on that. And the catheter, it's an indwelling interventional device. And if it's in there for some time, you have bacterial coming in. You can also get a UTI from the actual procedure, which should be sterile. It has to be sterile. It's usually used for convenience. If you have someone who's incontinent, you come to the ER and you put the catheter in for convenience. You don't have to run with a bedpan. You don't have to. You can easily take a sample, but you also might create UTI from that procedure. And there are programs all over the world now to reduce the usage of indwelling and invasive catheters because of this reason, and the increase in usage of antibiotics and development of resistance for which is a major problem in the healthcare in general. And a catheter also causes skin irritation and wounds. And recently, the past 4 or 5 years, we have the suction-based catheters or devices, but you need a pump or you need to use the vacuum suction in the wall, and that should be used for other purposes than suction of urine. It's usually not reimbursed. It's pretty noisy, and it's usually that what happens is that you have this absorbent material that you position over the labia, and you suck the urine, but you get, instead of getting wet underneath, you get wet on top, and you get wounds on top of there. And if there is not very clean or a mixed incontinence here, you might suck other things into this, and it can be pretty messy. And it doesn't stay very well either. You have this one has some glue on it, but you have to then take it away and position it. So it may also lead to irritation and infection. So new solutions are needed to decrease the cavity. We have the wounds, we spoke about all this, and neither of these products can help you safely, without being invasive or putting a catheter in, a straight cath, to take a urine sample from an incontinent lady, because you don't know when the urine is coming, and it's very hard to get a clean catch, and then you need to do invasive catheterization to either do urine monitoring or urine sampling. Also, side effects like falls and others are important here to mitigate. And also in the urodynamics, if you pee, it could be hard to direct the flow right into the receptacle. There's something we can address here. And if we look at something we don't talk about much, is the environmental impact, especially of briefs. I've seen numbers about 2.5 to 5% of all waste is made out of adult used incontinence pads, and half of it is put in the landfill, and about half of it is incinerated. So you basically use energy to boil urine and cook it and burn the diapers, which is not very efficient use of energy, I would say. We should also talk about storage and transportation of large volumes of incontinence and briefs and pads. Transportation trucks, truckloads, because you have quite a lot of volume here. And overconsumption of antibiotics, both for catheters and the briefs, and also with other external devices. We are contributing to bacterial resistance, and that is a very big problem today. Cavity is the most common hospital-acquired infections today in the hospital. And we actually address a lot of these, or most of these, concerns. What we found is also that to diagnose UTI is a problem. Also in infant girls, they're also incontinent. And you do usually put the culture, a catheter into the small child, and or you try to get a clean catch. And about 50%, 25%, literature is different. You have contaminated urine samples, which makes it hard to diagnose. So this is something where we're looking into, and actually we're having a lot of interest for having to safely catch a clean catch sample without being invasive and without getting contamination. And this is something we and I will explain how we can do that. Men, for example, we have condom catheters for men, and the Men's Liberty, for example, as a third external alternative, which doesn't have suction or glue or anything. But women have, until now, until UriCap came, no dignified and affordable external alternative. So we are very happy to be on the market and introduce the UriCap Female. So what is the UriCap Female? Well, you see, this is the little cap made out of soft silicone. It is natural, it seals, and it keeps you dry. No suction, no adhesive, very soft. You can squeeze it. I have it here. I can't see if you can see me, but maybe you can see me. Very soft. And I will explain how it can collect a urine sample without contamination. It is clean. You don't need sterility, and because you don't have an invasive procedure here. It is an external procedure, and it changes once daily. So you can keep it for 24 hours, and then it should be clean. You should rest maybe, and then you put a new one on. How does this work? How come does this work? Well, what we found is the silicone and the skin around the urethra. Here we see the perineal and the vagina opening has the same kind of surface adhesion. So you can think about it as a contact lens. And if these surfaces come close enough, the surface tension, or the plus and the minuses, causes adhesion between the two surfaces. And after some time, after you have a few voids here, and the urine comes into the bag on the bed next to the bedside, you have short vacuum which move these surfaces together even stronger, and you have a seal, so you can basically you cannot pull it straight out. You have to peel it out. And think about a contact lens or two glasses surfaces together. They can slide sideways, so you don't have any chafing, and you can move it a little up and down, but you cannot just pull it out. You have to kind of peel it out or squeeze it out, and then it just releases very quickly. It is positioned under the labial folds, the internal labia, so it is more or less like putting a catheter in, but you don't have to localize the urethral opening. You localize the vaginal opening, you put the longer edge of the UriCap in there, and you just flip it in over, and the urethra opening will be somewhere around the cap here. And with time, with each void, you have more and more adhesion, and we use no suction, no glue. What is helpful though, because it is not always super strong, and if you pull this very hard, you need to protect the skin here so you don't get any blisters or anything. So we recommend a catheter securement device on the leg and some slack there, and then if by an accident you would drop the bag or you would stretch the legs, it would not affect and don't exercise a pull on the device. So this is a very simple device, and for a nurse, a urology nurse, this is a simple thing to put in place, no problem. And what the patients say, it's really comfortable, they don't really feel it. I can sleep all night, nobody has come and changed anything. And in hospitals now in Israel where we developed this device, they're using it, and I will talk more about it, to take a clean catch for urine sampling and urine culture. We use also standard urine bag, and nothing special. You don't have a canister, you don't need any engine or any pump or anything. So where do you use this? Where do you find the spot for this? And of course, at the hospitals, for bedridden patients, or that we use a lot of furosemide when you want to have some patient pee when you, I forgot the English words here, but when there's a lot of urine volume, you can use this and don't have to have a catheter in. Of course, for urine sampling, cortisone, looking at cortisol levels in urine and other things. Urine is a vital, is important for vital signs and a lot of metabolic disorders, and you need to collect it and analyze it. So that's very important. And this way you can take clean catch, external midstream sample, which is often otherwise contaminated. And for incontinent women, you usually use an invasive catheterization. And at home, same thing. We see a sweet spot for disabled younger women that really appreciate it. We've had several cases that use it for over a year, and they can sleep all night, don't need to empty and void during the night, or straight cath if that's the case, even in the wheelchair, or it can be used. You have to reposition it when you move and make sure it is right, but it's very simple, especially for younger ones. So I think I lost the slider, but okay. Sampling and culture. This is a study in Carmel Hospital here. We did very on 30 patients, 29 patients, and we had one contamination. And it's used regularly in other Israeli hospitals for that purpose, taking urine culture and do the urine sampling. Sheba Hospital, the largest hospital in Tel Aviv, ranked 10 in the world, is starting next week to implement it at their internal medicine department. And they need it for urine analysis, avoiding the invasive catheterization. They all want to reduce the number of catheters used. And there is no alternative today. And this is an alternative for catheterization. The same when you want a urine culture from an incontinent or bedridden women. In Sweden, for example, you don't even put a catheter in. You either treat empirically, which is a problem because you overtreat with antibiotics, or you wait in the morning until you have enough staff and you put the patient on the seat and try to have them pee in a cup, and it takes 2-3 staff and it delays the diagnosis a long time. This can be avoided with the UriCap. And in the study in Israel, in the hospital, in Carmel Hospital, it was a urology department because they needed a urine sample before operation, and so many of the samples were contaminated, so they just love to use the UriCap to get a non-contaminated sample from any woman, any age, actually. And we see a large need for a pediatric small version of UriCap. And Sheba Hospital and Tillacare have started a collaboration now trying to develop a pediatric version. Could be very, very interesting. It's very early on, and I can't say much more than that. The slide that disappeared here is for the general purpose in hospitals. We see it in, could be done, put on in the ER, for example. Instead of taking the urine sample last, you can put the UriCap on. You don't have to run with a bedpan. And you can keep it on because you don't need a pump or anything like that. You can keep it on, and you can transport the patient with a UriCap applied. For example, going to X-ray or other kind of tests in the ER. Also very suited for diuretics. That's what the word I was lost in internal medicine. If you have a lot of diuretics, you have a high volume of urine, and a UriCap can be very, very helpful here. ICU, step down. Also, why have an invasive catheter that could be lethal for a patient if you have an infection? Just use an external that does not leak. It could be a big benefit. We speak about money also. This was an independent hospital value analysis in a hospital where they calculated removal of 300 indwelling catheters, and the cost for the UriCap starter kit, as we call it, with the securement device was about $25,000, and the cost saving for the hospital was calculated to over $300,000. So there was a huge return on investment. This was during COVID, so there was not really any way to introduce a new device. But this is just an example how you can also reduce cost with an alternative solution to what's available today. At home, the big advantage with the UriCap here is you can get a full night's sleep, no changing of briefs or something like that in the middle of the night. Your next to kin or who else helps you can sleep. You can sleep, and you can also use it in a wheelchair if that's possible. And we have reimbursement code. What is needed is 30 days of recorded. Oh, sorry, that was wrong. 90 days of recorded incontinence, 3 months. But it supplies 30 to 35 devices. So 90 days, 3 months of recorded incontinence. Totally dry at night, skin quality totally different. If you put the securement device or a strap on with the slack, as you can see in the video, and you go to our webpage, you can also allow motion. It doesn't fall off. It doesn't fall on your back. It sits in place even if you turn on the side. And hygiene will of course be improved. You need to clean the area and take a good care of it, putting the device on, and in general that will improve the quality of life quite a lot. Well, of course, we have full set of training resources. You have a new device, so we have a user guide for consumers. We have our training video. We have our little paper model. We understood early on that if you're not a nurse or you don't really know the anatomy, so this can help explain how to put it in and how to apply it. For nurses that want to implement it in departments, we have user skill evaluation tools, quick reference guide, and we have a silicone model where you can practice before you go to the patient. A nurse usually learns to put this properly in, from 1 to 5 times. And basically what you need to make sure is that the inner skin fold, the labia, is not under the UriCap. So you get a continuous contact around the area where you put the device. If you can do that, then you have functioning device. We sell mainly in the home market. Hospitals have been hard to penetrate after COVID, and we also have the suction-based devices there. Very, very widely used. Very interesting. A lot of people like it, but we also hear a lot of people that really wants an alternative. But in the home market, we have the reimbursement, and we see disabled, chronic nighttime, chronic incontinence, where you have nighttime leakage is a sweet spot for us. We have a manufacturer support team, and we have a 1-800 number and HIPAA-compatible software. So we can also drop ship from our logistics center in St. Louis, where we, for those DME we work with, we can service them and drop ship directly to the customer. And I'm coming to the end here. Our team here has developed a CE, and you can access the CE. I think, Vic, you're sending out in the newsletter that how they can access that. So you read on this little thing, the code, the link, and you just register according to the instructions here with the UriCap 24. And you will have a free CE where you will learn and understand even better what we're doing. That's a short one. So I think, thank you for your interest. There are probably a lot of questions, and I would like to talk to you.
So audience that's watching live, feel free to put in any of your questions into the comment box. Lori will read those off for us. And I'm going to just kind of ask a few questions myself. So it's interesting that the UriCap, how well it works. My question is, so per unit, how long can somebody use a single UriCap?
It's regulated for 24 hours. So you should change it daily.
Should be changed daily.
Yeah, to check that. But it's a silicone device. It's very soft, just a millimeter. It's very flexible. We've taken away all the pressure points. Women in this area can be more or less tolerant for foreign bodies and so on. So one should always look and see if there is, irritation. Maybe have a slow start, get used to it. It's like it was like the islands. When you started with islands, you use it for a few hours, get used to it, and then you use it more and more. And this can be very individual. Some use it right away, can use it 24/7. We had patients during the study, they wanted to use it more than the 30 days we tested it for. And it can be also that when you pull it out or in the beginning, you get a little irritated because you put it in and out and play with it a little. Let's take a short break and then do it again. You put a small amount of water soluble moisture,
Lubricant.
lubricant. Thank you. This is not my native tongue, so sometimes I drop the words. Lubricant. I know the word. So we have a water soluble lubricant which is delivered with the package. We call it the base kit with the extension tube that is put on the UriCap. So that's a base kit that we deliver, and then you can have your own bag, or you can order a bag from our suppliers. But it's a 24. It is certified for 24 hours. Then you need to change it. And if you start reusing it, I mean, can you reuse it? Can you get this question? Well,
we know people are going to do that.
Yeah. But what happens is that the adhesion depends on that the surface is really clean. And if you start reusing it and you wipe it off and you have some surface residual on it, it won't work as well. It will come off much easier. The issue is it's super clean when you take it out, you put it in, and that creates the closeness with the surface and the adhesion. So if they do it, they might have and clean it, they might have a mixed success rate for sure. And why reuse it if you have Medicare? Because it is supported by
covered by Medicare, covered by other insurances too.
That depends. The DMEs, the distributors, Medicaid also covers part of it. Depends on which state. Some of them do full coverage. Some of them have part coverage, and it also depends on the reseller we use. Bioderm is national. We have Complete Care Medical. They're also national, and we have local ones in Texas. So it depends. We'll try to find that the supplier has the coverage for that insurance that the patient has. Yeah.
Lori, do we have some questions coming in?
We sure do. So Linda actually had the same question I was going to ask. And if the woman has significant atrophy with labial fusion or flattening of the labia, I think my guess is it difficult to apply if somebody has atrophy?
Yeah, I mean it does. It doesn't fit everybody because of that. You need to have some kind of holding power. Not much. You don't need a lot, but some. And if you have also vaginal framfall, the English word,
so somebody has like estrogen lack atrophy.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. So I think that's also a reason, like a little younger women have better success. Disabled women that are maybe somewhat younger.
However, the lubricant that you're using would provide that surface to kind of create the suction, right?
Yeah, and it needs the seals. It will also help sealing a little. And then as when you have the seal, it really you don't need to have a lot of holding. You can try it. It is, if it works, it works. It's not dangerous. You don't. So it can be worth trying and see if it works. But if you have the atrophy, I would say use it a few hours, rest, and then make sure that you can increase it if you have the tolerance.
Very good. Lori?
And then also, what is the cost of the product if it's not covered?
So if you're paying out of pocket.
You're paying out of pocket, yeah. We're not selling it. It has to be our resellers, but it would be around $14 a day, something like that, $14, $15 for a base kit.
Yeah.
And also, are there any weight limits? Is it one size fits all, or are there different sizes?
We have one size, fits most, 80%. We haven't had that many requests only for pediatric or disabled younger women. So it usually fits. It's very soft and it's kind of a flexible area. So it usually, if it sits, it sort of usually kind of positions itself in front of the urethra, because that's where, because it slides around a little, and when you have the squirts there, it will move to that place if it's put in. So it's one size at this point.
I'll be interested to see what happens in the pediatric market. I used to work with a pediatric urologist, and bagging a young boy with those collection bags was easy. They almost always got a good sample. But when you bag a female, it really was a baby. It was most of the time it leaked. Sometimes you got a good sample. I think this could really be an interesting option. And most of the time we just catheterize them with a feeding tube, which puts them through an invasive procedure.
Yeah, and this is what we meet when we're out there showing it. They say, "Oh, we want one for pediatrics." And the Sheba Hospital has an innovation center called ARC Innovation, where they work together with startups to develop these kind of things. So we do the clinical testing together with them and everything. So this is a very, very interesting project, and I think it's also quite a big market, and you need it's a big need here for that. Definitely.
Is there a way that someone might be able to get a sample just to see or try it?
Sure. Just go on our webpage here, US Sales, and make contact with our clinical team, and or on our webpage www.tilacare, request a sample. We have usually kits. We sell complete kits with 30 devices and with the bag and everything, usually through our resellers. But we also have a sample kit with 5 devices. So you can buy 5 out of pocket, not that much for with everything from like $90, something like that. And then if it works, and then you can go into if you have reimbursement, Medicare or whatever. But then you can practice a few times and learn. And if there is a clinic, a urology clinic, please contact our team, our US team, at US Sales at tilacare.com with an email, and they will get back to you and discuss how you can get samples for sure.
So UroNurse has a website link to your website. So if they go to uronurse.com, there's a click over to get the TilaCare and UriCap, so you can get information. You were showing a whole bunch of teaching things on the one slide. That are those available? I mean, something we can get in the office, fairly simple. Contact.
If you go to our webpage, we have a resource part on our homepage, and you can download a lot of these and order this training tools. But the demo kit you can order. These you can download. A lot of this you can download, the guides and so on. So just browse our webpage and send in an interest or send an email to our clinical team, and they will help you with how to get samples or where to order. So absolutely.
Good.
This is when you introduce a new thing, new concept to the market that we understood early. We had been at it 2 years about, and realized very soon that we need a lot of material and so on and so forth. We've had customers calling us saying, "Well, I use your video. We have these amazing YouTube's small snippets. You can go and search for TilaCare on YouTube." And there you have small video clips on different parts of that, how to put it on and how to use it and so on. Also very helpful.
Yeah.
So I would recommend those YouTube clips too.
We've had a lot of patients that have watched the video from our previous episode with the UriCap, and I do get a lot of feedback too from patients that have looked at the videos and have actually gone out and got it, and their feedback has been really positive. I mean, this was kind of a game changer. Wearing diapers is not a great life. I mean, it's
No,
just
no.
they smell. I mean, no matter how good they are, they start collecting urine. You're going to be wet somewhat with them. It's just not the best way. Where this is something, it's been an option for men, and men that have had incontinence and wore external catheters have been pleased with those. And women have not really had a good choice. And as you say, there's other devices like the PureWick and things, but you're walking around with a vacuum basically to make them work. This is, self-contained, which is really huge, I think, as an advantage.
I mean, I think the technology that we've introduced here is that we are external, we are outside, but we are as close to the urethra as possible, and we create this seal, and that is the game changer here. We are not sitting outside the labia folds trying to suck or collect something which passes through and maybe go another way. Here we are really gotten close. It's also, makes it a little more, it's not as simple as putting like a suction, PureWick on top of the labia and let it sit there. So it requires a little more. And also for a patient that looks at the videos, they should be a little patient, to make sure that they get this seal. They don't get the labia folds in between here, but then they will be feeling uncomfortable right away, and they will have a leakage right away. If it feels comfortable, it sits in the right place, it's usually positioned right, and they will not. If you have a leakage later on, it's usually it was an accidental pull or something like that. But with the securement device, that we don't hear that anymore. What happens is people try to save that securement device, and some of our resellers are not giving it out really, or push it. And I think it's essential for being sort of free to move or turn in bed, which if you are younger, you do that. So the securement device here is an important accessory to the.
I think that how you kind of equated it to a contact lens, since many of us wear contact lenses or have worn them, how that it just sticks in there by itself. I mean, that contact between those two surfaces really holds things. Lori, you probably have had the same issue that we have with a lot of women coming in with urinary tract infections or claiming to have it. And when they give a voided sample, it's always contaminated.
Always contaminated.
You can almost you look under the scope and what you see is a lot of vaginal cells and things. It's not from the bladder, so you end up catheterizing them. So what do you think about this as an option to get away from doing a cat specimen?
Absolutely. And this is actually at the Sheba Hospital, which is a huge hospital. They have 5 internal medicine departments. They have a nurse now working with our nurse to implement this as a standard for all kind of urine sampling and urine specimen collection, because they just want to get rid of that catheterization process. It does create, as I said in the beginning, it's the most common hospital-acquired infection is a UTI. And it is caused by the catheterization that is done either at the ER or at the ward. Some nurses do it perfectly well. They know how to do it. Probably a lot of the urology nurses here. But a lot of nurses on the internal medicine or in the ER, or they're younger, they're not, it might not go right, even when they put it in. And then you might introduce an infection. And that costs a lot of money. And the hospitals get penalized for it in the US. I mean, they don't get paid for the extra care. And that costs them a lot of money. So it might be a little more expensive, but if you look at it holistically with transportation, with less infections, with also sleeping at night, rehabilitation might go faster after an operation or something like that. You put it on at night, so you don't have to go up, and there's no staff there, so you fall, and then you have other problems. And there are many reasons why to use a device like this. That ultimately saves money and improves care for the patient.
Yeah. One more question from Linda. Is it biodegradable?
Silicone is not. Silicone is totally not biodegradable. Actually, on the contrary, it is very stable. So it's not like regular plastic that is kind of ground down by nature to microplastics. So silicone is basically indestructible. So it's a different kind. It does, but the volumes are so much less than if you talk about diapers or briefs. Who are I think I calculated. We're talking about 30 times or 40 times the volume. If you look at briefs that are half a liter, a pound of urine, and you have to throw it away and you have to transport it. But with silicone is not degradable, which is kind of good in one way. But you can actually, there are someone doing recycling where you grind it and you use it as lubrication in airplane and in something like that. You have this silicone lubricants, and you can actually use this for grind it and recycle it. So if you put it in a recycling and you have an agreement with such a company, then it can be reprocessed for sure.
Yeah, I think it was a good point that you made about the amount of waste product that's produced with a wet diaper that you're throwing away into the local landfills or.
Yeah, I mean the trucks delivering it,
trucks to bring it, trucks to haul it away.
Storage space. Are we talking about 30, 40 times? Beddings that are getting wet. You have to wash things. And the landfills. Landfills or incineration where you burn it in the local incinerator.
And if you don't think it's a problem, go to your local pharmacy or your local store and look at how big the aisle is for incontinence products. It's huge.
Yeah. And even if UriCap is, let's say we do it for a few thousand or 10,000, the brief market is huge. So even cutting a slice or reducing it where it's possible would have a great impact actually. Especially nursing homes. Yeah.
So I think that's it for questions that came in, right, Lori?
That is correct.
Any questions that you still have for us, or are you good?
I'm fine. I'm very happy to be here, Vic. I think you're doing a great job spreading the word.
Great.
So So thank you very much for having me on the show, and love to come in and maybe have more to tell you.
One thing that I really enjoy about the show is no matter where you live, we can bring you in because it's on the internet. So that's kind of a new thing where we get.
Thank you for being here.
Accessibility for folks that you wouldn't. So it's really great. And then it's just I think. The education component, these are products that I always said that in my own practice, and Lori can probably back me up on this, you don't always see salespeople from these smaller companies. And these are great products that you don't know about. And that's, I think, is a huge thing, is be able to, that's what I enjoy doing with this show, is being able to bring things in that are not commonly seen that can make a big impact for both our work as nurses and the patient's life. So it's we're glad that you guys are out there innovating.
Yeah, no, it's a challenge in the US market. It's a lot about money. You need volume, and if you don't have volume, you need you need to make volume. You need to work slowly. It takes time, and we are setting up more and more local distributors. We're working with Bioderm. We signed on others. So on our webpage you can find them and how to order, and you can contact them. They will be listed there. So that's the way to go, and we are adding on more on partners, because people really have an interest. There is a really need out there.
Yeah,
thank you.
I'm sure that there's probably going to be some support groups for UriCap out there and things like that people want to start getting involved in. So. Definitely. All right. Well, I'm going to put a plug in for next week's show. because I have a little different show for
Meet
us.
the editors for the newly released core curriculum for urologic nursing and introduction to urology for the associate. Dr. Jeffrey Albaugh will discuss the new edition of the core curriculum for urologic nursing. Adult urology focuses on the care of urologic conditions in adults over the lifespan and has been updated to present the latest in-depth knowledge across the continuum. Dr. Suzanne Qualich will discuss the introduction to urology for the associate, which focuses on the practical application aspects of urology basic care and has been updated to present the latest in-depth knowledge across the continuum. These books will prepare you for your professional future and as a resource for training, continuing education, innovation, and research. Meet them both next week on uronurse.com.
So yeah, join us next week because we're going to have both the editors for the two recently released products by Suna. The one on our urology nursing, which Dr. Jeffrey Albaugh took care of. And then this other one is more kind of a bare bones, I think aimed at the medical assistants to have, the basic things that we do. So 2 new books that came out, and they're going to tell you all about them next week. So I'm not going to say much more on it. But be sure to join us next week. Lori, any other comments coming in at the end, or sometimes I see?
Oh yeah, no, just thank you. And I thank you too for being here. It was great. Yep.
All right. I think that speaks for everybody. So, hey, we'll see everybody next week. Enjoy the nice weather that we might still have. This has been the craziest fall. It's been the warmest one I can recall in a long time out here. So we're going to go out and start raking leaves. All right. Have a good one, everyone.